A presentation copy of Alice Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I'm Adam Douglas from Peter Harrington, and I'd like to show this copy to you. The first thing you notice is that it's not in the published binding of red cloth, although it does have the same gilt tools which were designed by Sir John Tenniel, thereafter Tenniel's drawings, the illustrator of the book. But this is a white binding, which indicates that Lewis Carroll wanted to give this to somebody special. And if we turn to the half title of the book, we can see there the inscription in his characteristic purple ink, the one he most often used for his presentations: Mary Frances Fuller, with the affectionate regards of her old friend the author, October 1882. And Mary Fuller had grown up by the time of this inscription. When Lewis Carroll first met her, or Charles Dodgson was his real name, he met her. She was little Minnie Drury, and she was one of his typical child friends. He happened to get into the railway carriage with her, her sister, and her governess, and they were rather dreading having to share a railway journey with this rather forbidding-looking clergyman. But he was so much fun inventing puzzles and games on the railway journey that by the end of it they became fast friends. And Minnie is one of the girls who grew up and kept in touch with Charles Dodgson, so that they remained friends into adulthood. The binding of white, the choice of white for presentation bindings, was Lewis Carroll first used for the very first book, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and he chose one white binding, which he called vellum. Now, this isn't actually vellum. Vellum is a really tricky material to bind books with, and so Macmillan's binders must have been dreading a request to do a book in vellum, and they've in fact used a kind of parchment-like paper, which is white paper in imitation of vellum, and you see it sort of almost has a grain in it, so it does look quite natural and quite like vellum. But it's in fact just white paper. But it's in good condition. White bindings, of course, do slightly show up any kind of dirt, and there's a little bit of rubbing here and there. The spine, you'll see, has just darkened a little bit there, and there's a little something lifting there at the foot of the spine. So not in perfect condition, but in excellent condition nonetheless. If we turn to the title page, we see there that the book is familiarly known as Alice Through the Looking Glass, but the original title is Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. And this is a copy of the 51st thousand. Now that's actually only the second edition, printed in 1882. So that shows how big an edition the first edition of Alice Through the Looking Glass was, because of course it was the second of the two Alice books, and the first had been a huge success, so they printed a great many more. But this is not really about the edition itself, it's about the association, and it's about this white binding. Charles Dodgson had a lot of his books bound up in various, he experimented with various colours, but white was always his favourite, and it really is a very desirable copy of the book. For full details of this book and many others by Lewis Carroll and other authors, please see the Peter Harrington website.